Morning all, me again, and I'm in Boston again. Just having a bit of a sit down after my morning bike ride. There we go, all secured, sort of tied off. This bike's got a quick release saddle, which means the cable thing has to loop through the back of that as well, which is a bit awkward. Anyway, I'm Tim, pleased to meet you. Hope you know my game. No, hang on, that's not right. I'm in Boston. This is 9:45 on Tuesday the 23rd of September. And interesting fact, about 19 minutes past 7 last night, when I was all ensconced in my hotel room chilling out, it was the equinox. The autumn equinox has been and gone, so we are now in the winter half of the year, technically speaking, in terms of, well, I think that means basically the Earth is halfway between its near point and far point in relation to the Sun in its orbit. Not aphelion or perihelion, it's a different one. I don't know, equinox, whatever. But yeah, you wouldn't know to tell. It's basically the same temperature it was yesterday. It's about 11 degrees, about a brisk cycle ride. It's going to be overcast today, get up to about 14 degrees tops probably. That's fine, I like it like that. No sign of rain today, and it's probably going to be doing this all day, so no sign of sunburn really either. This is all from last trip still. Vanity. There's the Boston Cathedral, and it's not the Boston Cathedral, it's St Boltoff's Church, the Boston Stump I believe they call it, which I chickened out of walking up yesterday at the end of my hike. I really was too knackered to do 145 steps, and I don't think you can go to the very top anyway. I think that's just to a lower level, so that's fine. And I don't want to do it this morning because I've got to crack on. So today we're going from Boston to, well, it's basically a bit of middle of nowhere flood bank halfway between here and Skegness, because Skegness is about 25 miles away, which I can't do in one go, so I'm going to have to just basically stop in the middle of absolutely nowhere and then walk an additional 2 miles inland to the village of Wrangle, where my car is at their little sports ground in the car park. Yeah, it's going to be another longish one again today, 15 miles, and I don't think I've measured the distance from where I stop on the path to where my car is either, which might be another 2 or 3 miles, so plenty to do today. But because we're getting nearer and nearer where my B&B is, at Skegness, much less travel time this morning, so we're able to make a reasonably early start. It's 9:47 right now, and I'm ready to start walking, basically. So, yeah, time to crack on, get out of this busy, noisy city. Loving the juxtaposition here. There's a blue plaque. Scott House, opened in 1837. Workhouses. And I just love the enormous grain silos in the background. Fantastic. There's Boston College over there, and I think we are just following this footpath for a bit. It's very exciting. We're doing flags at the moment. Not quite sure why. I think it's just a sudden, massive, spontaneous burst of patriotism, you know. So I've been looking for a Lincolnshire flag. Haven't really seen one. Had to look it up in the end. So the Lincolnshire flag, it's a sort of blue and green quartered flag with a red cross across the centre, horizontal, vertical. Looks quite aesthetically pleasing, I like it, but if I see one I'll have to show you. It's on Wikipedia otherwise. Right, along here I think, and hopefully out of town. That looks promising. That's me, Acorn. Through here. Okay, I like it. Gates of the Dead. Something, oh no, I can't see, they put signs all over it. Oh well. A church dedicated to a saint, probably. Gravestones of the dead. That's not quite such a thing really. I mean, that's kind of more, that's what you'd expect. Probably a bench of the dead or two around here somewhere. Oh, this is a nice calm change from what we've just had to do. It's largely been major trunk roads in and out of the centre of Boston today. Making most of all this, it's going to be back to the flood banks of the middle of nowhere of wilderness soon enough. Blimey, what must it be like being a church in Boston that doesn't have an 81 metre tower? It's quite a modest village church size, that. You just get on with it, I suppose. And here we are. King Charles III England Coast Path. The reason and meaning of my existence. £50,000 fine, that's pretty hardcore. Right, let's go. Wow. And as if by magic, nearly seconds later, here we are back on the bank of the Haven. Came up the other side last time. Actually, yeah, that's the end of the line on the other side as well. So I had to divert off into the estate. No urban foxes, I'm pleased to report. That was good. It was all right. I take everything back I said about Gravesend. It was relatively well kept and smart in there. There was a couple of the older quirky asbestos barns with gubbins and sun on the top. We do things with metal, but you know, mostly it's just distribution warehouses and such. Modern life. There's the Boston Combustatron, standing proud, doing nothing. Can't hear any noises, see any smoke. I think it was off yesterday too. Right, and then this is us for today, really. We head on down here, it becomes increasingly less and less populated, and then we're in the middle of windswept nowhere. We go down to the end of the Haven, take a left turn, and we start back up the coast towards Skegness. Unfortunately, we won't really see the sea either today, because it's all going to be salt marsh again. It's quite a large bit. I mean, it's fundamentally the wash. That is what the wash is. It's technically the sea, but pretty much on all sides it's very shallow at the edges and runs pretty far out as salt marsh and mud flats and things. The occasional deep channel river breaking through to places like Boston. But generally, nautically speaking, a bit of a cul-de-sac. Most of the big shipping goes off around from Lowestoft and Great Yarmouth and so on, round onto Felixstowe further south, remember, up round to Skegness and the Humber, Hull, and beyond there, Newcastle, I suppose. There's a lot of things north of Hull that I'm not terribly familiar with, to be honest. Vaguely know the names, couldn't place them on a map, but I hope by painstakingly walking to and from away from them in future years, I shall learn them more closely. Yeah, good. Yeah, a lot of flags. A lot of flags in Boston. A lot of St George's crosses on lampposts. I mean, you know, they are what they are. There's all sorts of political wrangling to be had there, but I will say that most people who put them up, they're vigilante people. People put them up, not my council with cherry pickers or anything. And most people only have access to a domestic stepladder, and they tend to be about 6 foot tall. So what you end up with is a whole load of lampposts flying the St George's Cross at half mast. And the first time I saw them in quantity, I thought, shit, has the king died? Is it today? But there you go. I suppose you could say all sorts of things about, you know, the death of our national identity or something, but I don't think it's that considered, really. Oh look, is that an anti-Spaniard defence post? While we're on the subject of fear of foreigners. Beacon there. Yeah. I would have expected to see more Lincolnshire flags, really. I think I've seen one or two while I was out driving around shuttling the bike about, but not actually on the trail so far. If I see one, I'll point a camera at it for you. Anyway, let's press on into the beyond. Seeing a few dog walkers, but we'll leave them behind before long. It really is wilderness day today. Got all my supplies, good to go. Oh, and here we are. Been going for less than an hour and already it's back to cabbages and salt marshes. That's one thing I get to see and experience firsthand on a journey like this, is how aberrant and rare cities are. How little of the country they take up. Most people who, you know, live a day to day in a city, to and fro, job to house to work to shopping to whatever, might think that that's what the whole of the country's like, but in my experience the whole of the country's like this. Wooded hedgerows, copses of trees, very large amounts of agricultural farmland, and the borders, the margins, the bits no one can really use that just go to wild. It's yeah, so it lends a certain perspective. God, I see all these flags, it's got me ruminating. Yeah, generally I think I'm too vague to have much in the way of convictions, you know. I'll amusedly comment on things that are going on around me in the world, but I don't really believe in a lot of stuff. Patriotism is what it is. I've always seen patriotism as a kind of quiet confidence, you know, a sort of, we do things are all right here, you know. We do the right thing a lot of the time. And you just sort of quietly get on with it, and you just nod and smile and take some small pride in how I could leave a car unattended all day, 15 days this year hiking, and the bicycle too, and neither of them has been stolen, you know. I mean, bicycles and cars do get stolen, but compared to the number of bicycles and cars that don't get stolen in an average day, it's a minuscule amount. I can reasonably expect not to get murdered today, walking out in the wilderness on my own. And it just, you know, but people do get murdered, and when it does happen, it's a huge thing on the news. And you look at the news, and every day it's the occasional few murders that do happen, and you think, my God, this country's terrifying. But, you know, today 59 million people did not get murdered. It doesn't really make much of a headline. So you get warped perspective. I doom scroll a lot. I know I shouldn't. But yeah, you just have to take a step back and look at the wider perspective. I mean, I suppose going out, a couple of blokes with balaclavas, a transit van and a stepladder doing a few nights' work in a city like Boston might eventually result in you thinking that the entire city wants to secede from the Union, you know. St George's flags on every lamppost. But I think that's just because most people don't care one way or the other and are getting on with their lives, you know. I mean, nobody's out there tearing them down late at night either, but I think the Antifa lot tend to be rather slower to mobilise, fewer in number. I don't know, it is what it is. I mean, I find it hard to be patriotic because I don't feel like I've done anything to deserve that kind of pride, you know. I've been born British by accident and happenstance. I haven't done anything to make that happen. I haven't done anything to be especially personally proud of, but, you know, I suppose it's a collective thing. I'm a member of a large super tribe that is Britain, you know. I suppose it's, and I'm quietly pleased that we do a lot of things right, as I said. But do I personally get to thump my chest about any of that? I don't think so, really. I'm sort of patriotic. I mean, what I'm doing now, this is a kind of patriotism. I'm so interested and pleased with and enjoy being British, or English specifically, I suppose, if we're going to go all St George's Cross, that I'm walking around the entire edge of it. I genuinely want to see it all on foot, bit at a time, the whole thing. And that's what I'm doing. That's what these day stages are partly about. I mean, if it was just about distance, I could do it on a treadmill at home, you know, put in like, you know, 2 or 3 miles a night. Might even get to an equivalent distance before I do on the real thing, because there wouldn't be all the car travel and bicycles and things. It'd be a lot easier to do logistically. It's not about the distance. It's about seeing the country. And I suppose I picked England because it's easy, because it's where I live. It's logistically simple. Could have done France or Canada or Argentina or something, but England makes more sense. So here I am. And I don't know if that's necessarily patriotism as such. I have a keen interest in England. I quite like all the county flags. I think they're quite culturally interesting. So I try and keep an eye out for them as I move from county to county. But I don't know. Just rambling, I guess. But yeah, I just find myself mostly baffled by the sudden outbreak of St George's crosses on lampposts. I know what it is really, but what can you do? Anyway, let's get on with today. People coming. Yep. I can confirm yesterday's hypothesis. This is indeed a sewage works and it smells awful. Just have to keep walking, keep my head down, try not to breathe. If I can hold my breath for the next mile, I should be probably okay. Yeah. There's an odd middle of the road car park here. It's just a farm track to access it. But parking for 20 cars maybe? Well, maybe 10. There's some information though, I should probably have a look. Pilgrim Memorial. Okay. Boston Town Centre, 14 minutes by car. Oh well, go me. Men and women secretly met in a ship taken downriver across the North Sea to the Netherlands to defy the authority of the English Church. So were they Catholics? That's 1607. There would have been Church of England here at that point. Perhaps most famously, I'll skip to the famous bit then, yeah. 13 years after trying to escape from Bolton, a group of these original men and women sailed back to England and then on to America on the Mayflower in 1620. Right. After a month, most were sent back from whence they came. Ah. Okay, well, a minor claim to fame. I think that might be the memorial over there. Let's go and have a look. Stone pillar. So I'm trying to think, was it the Pilgrims were Catholic and they were fleeing persecution from the Church of England, or was it the other way around? No, they were Protestants, weren't they? 1607. Well, Henry VIII formed the Catholic Church during his reign, but I can't quite remember when his reign was. No, I'm fairly sure it's Protestants went off on the Mayflower. Must have been fleeing Catholic oppression in this country. So 1620. So the English Civil War must have been after that. I honestly don't know any of these dates. That's me banging on about patriotism and a keen interest in England, and I don't even know our most basic history and dates. So there you go. I think we're all hypocrites at the end. That's what we've learnt on this journey. The real treasure is the hypocrisy we brought with us. I don't know. I'm vaguely interested in most stuff. I think vague's probably a word you could use to sum me up in general. If I had to pick one. There might be some more information on here. Mind you, I do have the whole sum total of human knowledge in my hand that I'm currently pointing at the countryside and showing you through. And I've got, 2 bars of 4G where I'm stood here, so, I can just look it up at any point. That's what's wrong with my brain. I think I'm so used to just looking stuff up on the internet that I don't really remember anything anymore. Must be much worse with the younger generations. I mean, I'm a Gen X kid, me, but these Gen Zs and Millennials and Zoomers and what have you, they don't need to have interior mental storage at all. It's all off-site storage for them. Here we go. Those later known as the Pilgrim Fathers were thwarted in their first attempt to sail to find religious freedom across the seas. Oh, I see. Thwarted, right. Memorial gifted by First Congregational Church of Wauwatosa, WI, USA, Wisconsin. Yeah. So from here, America started, I suppose. Yeah, well, there we go. Let's say we've all learnt something today, and I will probably have forgotten it by the end of today. That's how I roll. Alright, so that was all turning away across Frampton Nature Reserve over on that side. Now we're going to hang a left and start working our way up to the bend and onto the wash proper again. This is still the haven, and as you can see, looks somewhat more pleasant at high tide. Still quite muddy and slick along the banks. Big blue thing. Well done. Don't know. There's constellations shown on the holes in the blue metal work. Oh, there's some writing along the top. Go on then. Amsterdam NL. Oh, I suppose if you look parallel through that slot, that's Amsterdam in that direction, maybe. Inspired by the significance of its site, this structure explores the themes of nautical navigation by allowing the visitor to imagine journeys into the unknown and beyond the horizon. In 1607, a group who later became known as the Pilgrims attempted to leave from nearby, leading to one of the many transatlantic journeys and a complex, challenging history. Oh, always changing and infinitely complex, the structure references navigational instruments and the methods used by maritime travellers for millennia, along with the meteorological, solar and astronomical readings. The key destinations of their subsequent journeys are traced through time from their first point of departure. Right. This looks like a fancy bench to me, I suppose. But yes, I guess those are star groupings. Don't recognise any. I mean, is that well, that's Ursa Major, I think. Or was it the Plough? I'm terrible. And the worst guide ever. Plymouth, US, that way. It would be better if they had the distance stenciled in miles or kilometres or something, I think. Plymouth GB, been there, done that. Do you remember Plymouth? It was a day of fishy dockyards mostly. Boston GB, yeah, I've just come from there. It's there, I can see it. Can you see the tower through the slot? Yeah. Oh, there's like an actual, yeah, sort of iron sight there, I suppose. And that's it. Okay. Yeah. Well, it's January, November, December. Okay. And then there's holes in the top as well. Presumably that maps to certain stars. I don't know. It's a bit abstract for proper navigational use, I think. Yeah. Was that a sundial, do you think? A gap coming through the sun. Was that shining on January, November, December? No. Right. Okay. I give up. I tried. Let's move on into the proper wilderness now. I think we are definitely leaving the Boston greater limits behind. Heading into the wild now. Not really much to show you after here, but I suppose we'll come across interesting things as we tend to do. But yes, according to the map, it's just this now for the next sort of 10, 12 miles. That's my day. Mind you, I did see a fantastic mega structure on the way in the car, so hopefully that'll be something to look out for. Just show you that when we get round into view. Otherwise, yeah, enjoy the day. It looks like it's clearing up a bit as well. That's good. Might have to get the suntan stuff out. Been a couple of days without it, but it is sort of late September, so apparently the Met Office weather chart shows a UV of yellow 3 and 4, so I might be all right. Might not have to bother, because the trouble is, like most things, it's a compromise. Protects me from sunburn, but stops me sweating effectively, and it runs down into my eyes as well and stings. I'm a precious flower. Yeah, so about 11:30. Been going about an hour. I think we're coming up on the end of the haven. Interestingly, that whole far bank there I've not been on. Like way back there, it turns off of the actual coast, off the flood bank on the south side. This is like a great big long spit that just exists to form the south bank of the haven. The other side of that, it drops down basically the same on the other side of that flood bank and is salt marsh all the way across from there. Some of that we saw yesterday. Which means they must have put in a phenomenal amount of work, because I'm pretty sure that whole bank on that far side is artificial as well. This obviously is. They must have put in an enormous amount of work just to keep the haven as a distinct navigable river, rather than have it all just snake out into indistinct salt marsh at some point in the past. Could probably find out if I looked up well enough when this sort of stuff was built and in place, but probably the work of several generations, shoring it up, improving it, and so on. Concrete pillbox there, Second World War era. Observation post probably. Doubt you're going to mount any serious ordnance in there. Yeah, so I get to the end of here. I can see it start to curve a bit. Is there a person on the end? Yeah, a couple of people stood on the end. Yep, still going on the right way, good. So yeah, just follow it round, and I think when it does this curve at the end, we'll be able to see maybe the sea again. Like I say, all of today there was going to be a fair bit of salt marsh adjacent to the path anyway. It's not until we get to Gibraltar Point, which is a sort of bunch of hills and dunes very close to Skegness itself, and we won't hit that until tomorrow, and that's when it becomes proper seaside again, I think. I was really worried about this section actually, the Wash, Lincolnshire in general. Figured I'd have all sorts of access issues, but here we are. I mean, I suppose anywhere that there is low-lying farmland that is on or near sea level, you're going to need something like this. And anywhere there's something like this, you have the functional potential for a footpath along the top. It's easy to walk along the tops of these. I mean, they need to be reasonably well maintained. I don't like the sort of waist-high hogweed, but this is a farm track, clearly. It's probably grazed fairly often. Then it just comes down to access permission at that point. I can walk along here, but am I allowed to? And the excellent work that the National Trails Organisation have done has dealt with most of that now. I mean, I could see that, you know, this might have become, at one time when it was first built, this would have probably just been private farmland. But then this structure was never private farmland as such. These belong to the Environment Agency, another arm of the government. And I think it's quite so. I've seen signs saying, you know, £5,000 fine for damaging these, because they fundamentally protect vast areas from flooding. So local farmer can be borrowing or leasing this at best, and I guess coast path takes precedence. That's okay. I don't mind coming through. Yeah, like cow pats, not very fresh. Cows probably not in this actual bit at the moment, but yeah, must get regularly grazed. Keeps it nice and short, easy to walk on. Yeah. But since the King Charles III England coast path has basically become a thing, it's more or less finished most places now, I think. Certainly it's finished and ready for use all the way up to Berwick for me, which is good. I think some of the places I've already been and had to go around are still in wrangling troubles and so on. There's huge chunks of the New Forest you can't use the coast on. But yeah, and I really don't know, or at this point care, what goes on the west coast of England at the moment, Lake District and beyond. That's problems for many years away, and by many years' time, they're more likely to have been sorted out. So I suspect, as you know, access and readiness and open and permission as goes, the longer I take to do this, the more finished it becomes. So that's good. I think I've done a lot of the more difficult parts where I had to just find my own way along local roads. A lot of Essex and Suffolk. Some of Suffolk was quite problematic. Actually, Suffolk's fine because it already had a Suffolk coast path, and Norfolk had a Norfolk coast path. This is all England coast path now, all of Lincolnshire. I don't think Lincolnshire ever really had a Lincolnshire coast path as such. That's good. This is all good. Oh, a boat. Oh, now we have to stand here in awkward silence while it catches up with me so we can look at it properly. I'm terrible at cinematography, I really am. Mind you, most of the time, but your Palins and your Simon Reeves and stuff, so they got other people to do that for them. They have to do their own bloody camera work as well. Woe is me. But no, summing up, yes, England coast path good to go all the way north. So certainly all of this week, Skegness and such. I've seen it in Skegness, signposts on lampposts and stuff. Just have to get there now. But yeah, so not much coast, proper seaside coast, waves crashing against the shore today, but probably some tomorrow. Something to look forward to. I think the stretch between Skegness and Mablethorpe might be more traditional coast, actual sea and waves and things, so that'd be nice for the final day. I like a good salt marsh like anyone else, but you know, it can only take so many days of it in a row before I start to yearn for something different. So yeah, you can see the spit coming to an end just up here. I imagine technically we'll be out into the wash at that point then, on the end of this bend, this curve. That'll be the end of the Haven and the end of the last bit of river nonsense for a while. The next bit of river nonsense will be in May, and that'll be the Humber, which is its own very special grade of nonsense. Don't worry about that then. Let's get to the end and have a little pan shot, shall we? One of those slow pans where I don't talk too much. Quite rare, I know. Looks like a hut. Is that a bird hide or a NCI Coast Watch thing? I don't know. If we can just keep walking, we'll find out. So we go up there next, but I'm going to the end. Is that a canal boat? It is. They're brave. I'm not sure you're really meant to take those out to sea. Mind you, it seems quite calm out there today. Bit of a breeze, but nothing tumultuous, and I imagine the wash is pretty protected from massive ocean current waves anyway. So it's probably going from one river around the coast briefly to the next river and then up inland from there. I suppose there are certain points with these boats, if you're going really travelling with them, you need to go to the sea to change canal networks, you know. A lot of the canals interconnect internal inland, but hopping from river to river, it might be worth doing. Oh, what is this? Some sort of hut. It's got a fence, looks padlocked, don't know. Anyway, we get a bit of a glimpse of what's coming our way next. Going all up there and beyond into the distance. Vanishing pointy a bit. Don't even know if you can see any of Skegness from here. It's over 20 miles away and there's a bit of coast in the way, I think. But you can see about the salt marsh as well, so take this brief glimpse of the sea while we can. So that's all over at the Holbeach training range. That's across the other side of the Welland as well as the Haven over there. It's like a big Y-shaped fork with the two rivers. Whew. Yeah. Some automated hut of some sort. Oh, there's signboards. If we get closer we can find out. Or I could just not bother. Use the zoom feature, yeah. Let's use technology. Looks a bit overgrown. Oh, there's a little bit of a path. Oh, go on then. I don't think we can go in there, whatever that is. Coke can. Honestly. Alright. What have we got here? Oh, there's just sort of hide and observation thing underneath. Bench and stuff. The Steve Cately cut end bird hide. Okay. Don't know what the bit on top's all about though. That looks quite significantly locked. No one in there. Nope. Oh, there's a small crib in the corner. Right. Oh, maximum speed 6 knots. I'll try and keep it down. Fire. Oh, a bench. Yeah, I guess you're allowed in there if you've got a key, you're a member of a club or something. Don't know. Doesn't seem like it serves any other Coast Guard-y purpose. Yeah, look at you in your canal boat heading out into the North Sea. Well, as you can see, it looks relatively calm. Plus, those things are pretty solid. They don't generally rock about a lot. They're mostly steel, I think, generally. Steel hulled. Oh, right, yeah, it's a massive bit of salt marsh, which sort of gradually narrows up and becomes coast at the far distance. But I don't even think we can see Gibraltar from here. And you can just about see a faint haze. I can't be bothered to zoom mode it, but just about make out the Hunstanton cliffs through the haze there from here. But it's pretty far away, like 20 miles or so. Alright, well I might stop and have a little bit of a drink, enjoy this bench, and then back to the junction and then north. And it is north now, it's a straight run all the way to Grimsby, I think, from here. Oh, brilliant. Just noting the hostile architecture here, just to stop anyone actually sleeping on it. You can lean against them, but nothing more. No, why not? I expect the bit upstairs is a bit more comfortable, but you probably need to... Oh, there's a bird club. Oh, I see, look. Lincolnshire Bird Club cut end hide. I expect they've got a key. Yeah. The Wash supports the largest number of wintering waders and wildfowl in the UK. 300,000 birds are present in the winter months. Well, there you go. Right. Yes, need to get back to the trail and crack on after I've had a bit of a sit down. Yeah, what are we doing anyway time-wise? 11:45. Yeah, I've got some M&Ms left over from yesterday still as well. Couldn't eat the whole bag. Which normally isn't a problem, but I find my appetite is a bit diminished when I'm walking. I don't know why. Good. Pleased so far. North from here for quite a long way. More than today, certainly. Well, hello. brings a pretty little thing like you all the way out here. I don't usually see them this low, actually. Oh, we've got to get the number. Hey. Add it to me jotter's book. S8698. Yes, hello you. Well, yeah, normally they're on top of hills, obviously. Trigonometry point. Mind you, this one must have a very pleasant sea view. What's this one like? Benchmark's about... Doesn't actually say the number of the benchmark height on it. No, it just says BM OS Ordnance Survey. The serial number, but not the actual benchmark height. See, about 3 metres above sea level. It's probably one of the lowest ones of these I've ever seen, yeah. Right then, onward. So it's up back onto here. And then, yeah, just follow the floodbank round. You can see it go round in a massive sweeping curve up to there. That's all me, all day. It's about midday, I reckon about a third of the way through today's distance. So that all checks out. 5 o'clock finish maybe. Don't know, see how we go. But don't forget, yeah, there's like a 3-mile inland cut from where we stopped today to where the car actually is in the nearby inland village, because for this stretch there is nothing really, nothing on the actual seawall until you get to Skegness, you know. So, and that's just slightly too far for me to get done in one day. That would have been quite grueling. About 20 miles plus probably nearer 25 or 30. That's why I had to break this one into 2 15s. So it's 15 today, including this, to a point not quite halfway to Skegness, and then the other tomorrow is another 15 miles from the cut point to Skegness, pretty much along the coast, and that's 15 miles as well. So yeah, well, yeah, I mean, assuming I would have started in Boston regardless, because it's the obvious jumping off point, it would have been a 30-mile trip today. And I think my personal record has been all that nonsense around the Isle of Sheppey when I got thrown off by that jolly woman from the Royal Bird Society. I ended up doing 24 miles with backpack before collapsing in a field. And I was so tired I just didn't care. It was an actual field, you know, farm crops and stuff. I was in one corner, tucked out of the way of the crops themselves, but I just didn't care at that point. Yeah. And then, you know, somewhat coincidentally, a day or two after that, I woke up with a cricked knee and had to abandon that trip at Gillingham, whichever. So yeah, I've learned the lesson. Don't push too hard on a given day. It's all right. The coast will always be there. It's not going anywhere. You can always cut the day in half and do 2. You know, it's not really got a schedule. I've got a kind of anticipated schedule, but it's not one. You know, I don't have a deadline. That's the difference. I don't have a schedule, but I have a deadline. So, and the schedule's quite adaptable anyway. Yeah, I think I'm a sort of ballpark of 8 more years of this to get back to Minehead, but I really don't know how the border of Wales and the border of Scotland are going to go. So yeah, hard to put a precise date of expected arrival back in Minehead at this point, but yeah, probably another 8 years worth. Hoping to get there before I'm 60. I mean, the whole southwest coast pass. I was wanted to make sure I'd finish that before I was 50, and I kind of greatly exceeded that, so that was okay. So now I'm hoping to get to Minehead before my 60th birthday, but that's absolute finger in the air number. That's not based on any kind of measurements or timings. So it's just a vague aspiration. We'll see. Right, I'm going to get on and get on with some walking then. There's not really a lot to report, but if I do suddenly see an interesting thing, you'll be the first to know. Well, here's an interesting thing. Private road, no access to prison. HMP North Sea Camp, entrance to the prison. All visitors must book in at the main gate. North Sea Camp. I mean, it sounds like a category Z prison or something, where you get to just do a bit of light gardening by the sea. And there's some kind of pinnacle up there as well. I mean, there's interesting stuff everywhere if you look hard enough. It may seem like a desolate floodbank top that goes on forever in both directions with nothing else to commend it, but actually we got a prison, we got a pinnacle, Ugh, we got a trench. Ugh. You alright, ankle? How's that? Damage report? No, you're alright, good. Wow, I do worry about that sometimes. I should probably pay more attention to the ground instead of filming and stuff. But yeah, a properly twisted ankle would cause me a great deal of trouble on a day like this. I would have to basically limp myself to the nearest road or dwelling and then try and get a taxi, I suppose. Put an end to my holiday quite quickly. So yeah, you do have to be careful. Watch where you put your feet. Decent boots with ankle support, you know. All that. Oh look, I've done it again, see? I've seen an interesting thing in the distance and now I have to walk to it in awkward silence while you watch. Now let's hyperspace towards it. Hang on, right, 3, 2, 1, and back. Boom. There we go, see? Oh, let's let you into a secret. That's what I do if I get bored on these bits of path. I just sort of stop motion myself through space and time further along, you know. Much easier that way. So what we got here? This is probably what they call a day mark, although day marks are traditionally brightly coloured, white, red, whatever. Don't know. Aha. Some more information. Let me step back a little so you can get it all in shot. Inspired by Sir Alexander Patterson MC and under the Governor W.W. Llewellyn OBE. This bank was begun manually by the staff and boys of North Sea Camp 13th of March 1936. In this year of 1974, over 500 acres claimed from the sea are ploughed and plouched. Ploughed, there's a G, right? Ploughed. Another 200 acre enclosure is imminent, and plans include a 700 acre strip seawards. Quanoam malfactorus juvenis illi patre bene fecurant. I don't know much Latin. Malefactors, that's pretty common usage. Juvenes, so we're saying young offenders probably. Patria bene, liberated by good work. Fecurant, good earth, I don't know. Brian Langstaff, 23, 1939, 12, 11, 1995. So basically what they're saying is this seawall was built by prison labour, child prison labour specifically. Although the staff helped, well that's nice. Probably stood over them, make sure they didn't run off. And claimed quite a lot of farmland, upon which, you know, the prison behind there is. That's interesting though, because I did wonder. I wondered when these flood banks, what era these flood banks date from, and this one only looks like it came from 1936. So prior to that, this was all just marsh, I suppose. I suppose there's all sorts of local history you can find if you're super keen to find out more. But yeah. So the bank was begun in 36, but this plaque was placed, and presumably this pinnacle thing was placed in 1974 to commemorate how much they'd already done. And presumably they were extending it at that point. Well, that's interesting. So yeah, so maybe these flood banks I'm just trundling along all day are much younger than I think. Don't know. So find an old map of the country dating from the 1800s or something, see what the coastline looks like around here. Well, there we go. Child labour made this footpath. Splendid. Don't know if you can hear that. I can. Fighter jets roaring around above the clouds in that direction. Reckon it might be red flags at Hull Beach today. Timed that right. More by luck than judgment. Yeah, good. See a lot of construction work up ahead as well. It's like tiny little orange vested figures working on one of the sluice gates or something. Hopefully I can get around. See when we get there, I guess. So seeing a lot of boats on the horizon in that direction. I can't work out what those are. Actually, I have an app for that. The website, marinetraffic.com. Good viewing for if you want to know what boats what when you're walking around on the seafront. And you just go and have a consult. Back in a minute. So those are a variety of general cargo vessels. His name's elude me. It's weird though, because I only had there was only 3 dots I could see on the marinetraffic.com, which means only 3 of them are transmitting their state and so on. rest of them are, I don't think you're required to transmit. I think insurance companies like it though, because they can keep track of where you are. But yeah, I think two of them were bound, the two that were listing were bound for King's Lynn. The other two, one of the others is going to Boston, but I suspect they're waiting for tidal conditions or a dock space at least. But yeah, I don't know what the rest of them are. They look small and maybe fishing stuff. But yeah, unknown, unregistered, suspicious. Unusual. I often see people put road signs down purely for my benefit. No one else on here. Yeah. Well, that's just a warning sign. I'm not seeing a path closed or a diversion, so just keep on. Just try not to get run over by a caterpillar track or something. As long as they've not actually broken the path, removed a bridge or something, then I should better just get through and round. Just, make my presence known, wave. Wait till they're not digging right where I'm going to walk. Should be fine. We'll see when we get up there. That's one way to keep the path nice and flat. Deal with the overgrowth. Although interestingly, the digger was parked at this spot long enough for the grass to die. So obviously they're not. This isn't a snap to it operation. Let's get up there and find out what's happening. We got here then some sort of dump truck there with a whole load of stones in the back, gravel, I don't know. JCB or digger in front doing some stuff, probably reinforcing the bank with fresh rubble. Doing working hours, please wait for banksman to escort you through the works. Anyway, okay, well I'll just mosey on up slowly and see if anyone notices me. Guys, this is a bit of a busman's holiday. I'm quite into roadcraft at the moment, playing that. It's a computer game where you basically drive big digger trucks and have to fix broken roads and things. It's surprisingly satisfying, playing that with John at the moment in co-op. Doesn't sound like a good game concept, but you'd be surprised. I should have to navigate my way through. They probably prefer I wasn't filming them when I do that. I know I would. Yeah, so they're reinforcing the bank there. Must have taken a bit of weather damage over the years. Stones down and then mud on top. Good job. Proper job, yeah. And then I go that way and on, I suppose. That's exciting. I shall treasure the terror and drama of that moment for the next couple of hours. Actually, for a path with nothing on it, this has been a surprisingly eventful morning. Alright, on we go. Nearly went off down that one, but as you can see, it ends up in a whole load of broken seawall sections. Probably does go where I want, but probably involves a lot more wading than I'm prepared to do today. Saw the little disc and the fence post just in time, so we're all good. Let's crack on along here. I see an occasional solar panel out in the middle of the marsh there with a sort of wind speed thingy. There must be a little weather station of some sort. Lots of open water for birds. Let's say, if you're an ornithologist, this whole countryside, this whole coast of the Wash around here is absolutely tip-top place for it. Sit here, they've got benches all over the place every now and then. Occasional hide. Bring your binoculars and a thermos. A little notebook. Spot all sorts of stuff. Me, I'm totally ignorant. I'm just trumping on. I mean, anytime I get close enough for anything to get some sort of ID, I scare it off. So birds do what they do, I'll do what I do. It's fine. It's enough to just merely cohabit the landscape with nature, I tend to regard nature as a holistic entity, as a whole, as just the everything, Don't really spend a lot of time trying to subdivide and categorise it all. It is what it is, and it's great. I love it. I really do feel like a recharge when I'm out here, This is why winters get so difficult. Don't do this much over the winter. I must change. I must try and do more circular stuff where I live. Just like veg out in Turton for 7 months. Good. Another middle of nowhere. Do like these liminal spaces. Could go anywhere, who knows. Just a between place. Just trying to stay ahead of a dog walker as well at the moment. Coincidentally taking the same route, I think. Just passed a couple of bird watchers asking me about the area. I know nothing about the area. That sounded convincing though. I think I made some good stuff up on the throw at the moment. Yeah, just head down, trudge on now. How are we doing? Just gone 1 o'clock. I expect probably another 3 or 4 hours worth today. See how we go. Making good time, I think. Very windy here. Yeah. Bovine obstruction ahead. It's going to take some negotiating. We're right on the path. Honestly, no idea. Actually, I'm not sure I can find a way around. That looks like it might be a ditch down there. So, it's my. Sure, I can figure something out. Anyway, it'll need both hands. So speak to you again soon. Yeah, crisis averted. Fortunately, low enough tide to go around. Just well, it looks like they got calves as well, so I don't really want to aggravate anyone. Alright, should be able to cut back up onto the top at this point. Well, look, this is the high tide mark, I think. You see all this? This is the very high tide mark, I suppose. Stuff gets carried up here in very, very high spring tides. Up and away. There's about as much hill as I'm going to see this week. Fine, I'll go round. You win this time, cattle. Alright, onward. It's gotten quite windy out here. Very little protection from the north. It's quite breezy. Hopefully you can still hear stuff. I just want to show you this because I think it's Journey's End. I think we're nearly there. Well, I say nearly. That's still 3 or 4 miles away. Those are not a nuclear power station. I think that's Staples Farm. That's where I'm aiming at. And they are enormous. You can see them a really long way away. Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm cutting off the path and giving up for the day. And then we'll rejoin the path and carry on again tomorrow to Skegness. But yeah, I reckon I'm 2/3 of the way done today, certainly. Yeah, you'll see more of that as we get near. Yeah, absolutely vast grain silos, and it's some sort of ball type structures, domes. I think they're pressurised, might be biodigesters perhaps. We'll see that when we get a bit closer. For now, I'm just going to head down into this wind and go places in my head. Yeah. More cows on my path. Still, I shouldn't be cross. They're doing a good job of mowing it. Is that a horse? Another pumping station building. Yeah, those domes and silos in the distance are getting closer. As I mentioned, that's my stop for the day, really. Or the parallel point on the path. That'll be my exit. No sign of Skegness. I don't think I'd expect to see it. Very low down, curvature of the earth and all that. Might be all stuff for tomorrow. What are we doing? 2 o'clock. I don't know, it feels fast. I thought it was 15 miles, but I've really just been powering on today, though. Very little in the way of sitting down or stopping. So, yeah. I've had a pretty early start as well, because the distance I have to travel with the car in the morning is shorter now. So, yeah, it's all good. All good. Still think I'll be on for a 5 o'clock finish by the time I've gone inland into the village, but that's all fine too. And then grab the bike. Haven't really thought about what I'm doing for dinner tonight. I can't do McDonald's every day. Might just grab a sandwich from a garage or something. Go chill in the room. You know, I slept 12 hours last night. Got back and just, had a shower, chilled out on the bed for a bit, and then I was just drowsing. So I thought, all right, let's just sleep. Got nothing better to do. So I had a very good night's sleep, and that's helped, I think. That's definitely definitely helped me power on through today. I think I must have pushed very hard on the first day, on the Sunday there, and I was still recovering a bit. But no, it's all good. Pleased to report no injuries or any kind of trip-ending concerns. So yeah, I think we'll be on to get everything done I want this week, which will be good because that will mean a full year. All 20 trips this year went without serious hitch, so that's good. I mean, yeah, okay, I lost a bicycle along the way, but that was between trips and doesn't count, so didn't actually get stolen, I just wrecked it trying to fix it better. So yeah, that's entirely my own fault. Still, kind of worked out in the end because the new bike's better. It's much better. I'm pleased with it. Right, so we've got some more cattle to get past. Yeah, those are horses. Guess they can get pastured on these flood banks as well. You've got a sort of series of overlapping flood defences here. That one there's not actually on the sea. There's fields either side of that one. Sort of compartmentalise it all a bit. That must have been the earlier one, and somebody's added to it since. Maybe it was slave labour from the juvenile prison down the road there. Who knows? Right, another pumping station. More cows. It's okay, I can go out onto the salt marsh a bit to go around them. Oh, look, see? So that where the other cows were. Somebody's giving them cabbages. Fair enough. Look at you. Been noticed. I don't think horses looked forward. I thought their vision was more side based, like prey animals. Don't know. Their flood bank is very neatly mown there, look. I think they may need some different grass soon. Let them out on this bit. These cows are doing a very sloppy job. Actually, that's a different herd, I think. Fence there, yeah, that was the herd back there. Just clustered up around the previous pump house. Well, it's all good. All natural stewardship, custodianship and such. I've got some fences to deal with, so I should put the phone away. Oh, helps if I press record. Yeah, 2:45. Yeah, I think 3:30 finish would be 6 hours, I suppose. 9:30. Well, I don't know. I can't remember how long it took me on the bike. I think it was a 9:30 start on foot. Yeah. So 6 hours seems reasonable. 15 miles. Oh. Yeah, what we got over there? Lots of people in orange jackets. Let's come back in zoom mode a minute. Maximum zoom. 20 times. Yeah, people studying the cabbages. Can't see any boxes. I don't think they're picking. I think they might be weeding or something. Who knows? Really good at focusing in that range. A lot of that about in these fields this time of year. There's people picking stuff, harvest time. Oh, right, I need to carry on around this bend, and I think there's one or two more fields, and then I'm ready to make my left turn. Can't see the big silos at the moment, trees are in the way, but basically I run parallel along there, so the area marked as Staples Holiday Park on Google. And I initially thought, oh, that might be a good place to base myself, but turns out some wag had put that in, and all the reviews are in Cyrillic. It turns out it's like accommodation for agricultural workers, so not actually a holiday caravan park. It's a convenient side road, that's all, really. At the other end of the road, as you go in, there's the A52 something, I don't know. Main road that connects Boston to Skegness. I've been up and down it a lot this holiday. And I have to go and join that from a side road which leads off from that farm, basically. So the footpath to the massive silos, then a trudge along a country lane to the main road, then I have to come along the main road a fair mile or two before I can get to the little sports ground car park I left my car in. So, and I don't really intend to take you all on that. You've suffered enough as it is with this monotony. So I don't think my additional logistics is of a great deal of interest. Anyway, then I need to do that in reverse. Basically, I'll just leave the car at the B&B tomorrow and cycle from there to Wrangle again. Park the bike at the little recreation ground. I've seen a suitable fence to chain it to. Then track back past that big old silo back to here. Then we'll pick up and head on. That's all tomorrow's problem. So done well today though. It's felt fast. It's felt like I've got a lot of mileage in quite a short amount of time today. So maybe I'm getting stronger and faster as I'm getting back into it, or maybe it's just been easier going. Less mucking about with side roads and things. Very straight today, if I'm honest. I mean, these flood banks look, interminable and just, straight line of grooves into a vanishing point, but you can certainly get the mileage done as long as they're reasonably well kept, which these are because of those cows. So that's been good. You can tell it's grazing, not mowing, because mowers tend not to eat around thorns. So it's all part of the life cycle, circle of life and all that. I think this herd have been dealing with this one for me, so that's nice. Yeah, let's open down there so they can get around if they want to. I think they're all over there at the moment, but out of the wind. So yeah, I go up and around there and to the left, and just have to choose a suitable point to depart from the path. We're nearly there though for today, so it's good work. Yeah, someone's tied that one. The ubiquitous bale twine. Guess some farmer wants that to stay open, so fair enough. And we'll do that. And it's open down there. That means that herd can get right up here and all the way along there. Fair enough. Yeah, so I think those silos and domes and things need to be pretty much lined up along each other. My exit path is a parallel line to those. Oh, another work crew doing stuff with cabbages. Oh, I saw this. Yeah, let me see if I can zoom. It's quite a funny little machine. So I thought they'd have some complicated, exotic combine harvester specially calibrated for cabbages, but turns out cabbages are just too delicate and more complicated than that. So they basically got this. Let me show. There we go, back in zoom mode. So it's like a sort of moving carousel of buckets, sort of flange-like. I don't too far zoom to show you my hand, but they're sort of like an upturned claw type of shape on little buckets that go on a little conveyor belt around the tractor to the trailer at the back, and basically the poor buggers at the front there just stoop and cut the cabbages up with machetes or whatever, and then just load them into the little buckets. They go on a little merry conveyor belt round the tractor up to the trailer at the back, where presumably some poor bugger has to lift them out and put them neatly in boxes and crates. Yeah, that's how cabbages are harvested. I'm not sure I could suggest a more efficient mechanical mechanism, to be honest. I mean, something like a combine harvester is great for wheat, but it's just going to turn your crop into coleslaw there and then, really, isn't it? Yeah, that's how cabbages are raised. Right, so let's see. So yeah, basically, you can see all that sort of holiday park finger quotes. It's basically just a load of static caravans for workers to live in. There's a big loading yard. I don't know what that's all about. That wasn't on Google Maps. I'm not sure what they store in there. I don't know. It's none of my business really. That's a farm. Yeah, my only interest in that is that it marks my day's exit off of the coast path somewhere up ahead. Oh, there'll be a left-hand turn somewhere that points to all of that, and I shall go along it. I probably won't even bring you with me. So there we go. Anyway, so that's nearly done for the day then. So that's good. 6 hours of solid marching. About 15 miles. Done well. So basically, going to be very similar again tomorrow. But tomorrow ends in Skegness, which is a big promenade seaside town with a pier and amusements and everything. So that'll break up the monotony a bit. Show you something a bit different. And another episode of Peer Review. Hurrah! Whew. Had to do the last bit down there because there's cows on my path again. Whew. And here we are. So this bleak middle of the nowhere spot is my destination for the day. So it'd be quite awkward to wild camp here, frankly, with these cows with access to the whole thing. Could do something in that turning there, maybe. Anyway, yeah, so Skegness is about 15 miles that way. We still can't see it, I don't think. We get to, there's a lot more of this stuff. Then eventually we reach something called Gibraltar Point, which has more sand dunes and things, and then beyond there is the glittering coastal promenade of Skegness, which is all for tomorrow. So it's 3 o'clock. I mean, I still probably reckon I've got to get to the main road, and then there's a fair old trudge left back down into the village. So I reckon I've probably got another half hour to an hour to go before I get to the car. So that's just how remote it all is here. Maybe I didn't know about that. Maybe I could have just parked it here. I think I got a nasty feeling this might be private roads, all to do with the big farming agrilopolis over there. But I think it's a footpath though, because there's a sign that says so. So I can certainly walk up there to the road anyway, even if you're not allowed to drive out to the end here. So yeah, so that's me for today. Anyway, I shall leave you here. I think I won't bother taking you all the way up there. As intrinsically fascinating as those large domes may be, a bit Logan's Run, really, isn't it? I shall find out and tell you about it tomorrow. Anyway, I will see you again here tomorrow for day 4 or 5. It'll be tomorrow, which will take us to Skegness and the delights of the seafront there. But for now, from the middle of nowhere, I'm signing off. So thanks for watching and see you next time. Goodbye.